Today I'm going to show you how to factor a trinomial when your leading coefficient is not 1. So let's look at the first example just so that we can review a couple of things from the previous section. So if you factor this, we didn't do too much work with pulling the GCF out first. So if you pull the greatest common factor out first, in this case, your greatest common factor is 3x. If you pull that out, 3x cubed divided by 3x is x squared. 15x squared divided by 3x is 5x. Negative 18x divided by 3 is negative 6. We're lucky enough now that we can just find factors of negative 6 that together equal 5. So positive 6 and negative 1. So we are lucky enough that after we factored, the trinomial had a leading coefficient of 1. But that isn't always going to happen. And what happens if it isn't? Well, here's the steps you need to take, and I'm going to walk you through an example. You're going to use a technique called factoring by grouping. So you're going to find the factors of A times C, the product of A and C, that means the first term and the last term, that when you add them together, have a sum of B. So it's sort of the same thing, but then we're going to replace that middle term, that B term, with both of those factors in the variable, so now you have a total of 4 terms. We're going to group those terms together so that the terms with a common factor, a greatest common factor, are together. So really the best way to do this is just to show you. So this one says, let me rewrite it, 2x squared plus 11x plus 15. So we're going to take A and C. Remember, this is ax squared plus bx plus c, so that we know what terms we're talking about. So we're going to take A times C, 2 times 15, is 30. So we are going to find factors of 30. I'm just going to list a bunch, and we'll go back and look. Well, there's 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. So we're going to look through these and find 2 factors that together equal B, or the center term. In this case, it's 5 and 6. Now we're going to rewrite that whole thing, replacing that center term, that 11x, with these 2. So I have 2x squared, and instead of that 11x, I have plus 5x plus 6x plus 15. I got them right here, and I wrote them with the variable. So sometimes this is called the split term method because we're splitting that middle term up into factors. So now I'm going to rearrange these 4 so that I pair them up with terms that have a common factor. So I'm going to move these around to be 6x squared plus, or 2x squared plus 6x, because they have a factor of 2, a common factor of 2, and 5x plus 15 has a greatest common factor of 5. I'm going to pull that 2x out, the greatest common factor, and factor this, undistribute this. So inside now, I have x plus 3. Here I'm going to pull out that greatest common factor. Let me erase this mark so I don't confuse anybody. Of 5. So outside, I have 5. Inside, I have x plus 3. What you have in the parentheses should be the same thing, or you've done it wrong. Now I'm going to take this and group it together. So I have 2x plus 5. I'm going to put that in parentheses, and I'm going to take one of these, and that's my factored form. If you multiplied this, FOILed it, you would go back to where you started. Let's try another one. All right, so we have 3x squared minus 20x minus 7. So we have 3 times negative 7. So I need factors of negative 21. And I'm just going to go ahead and make my list. Negative 7, 3, negative 21, positive 1, negative 1, positive 21, and then -3, +7. So if I take -21 and 1, that equals -20. So now I'm going to get rid of my -20 in the center and replace it with -21 and 1. So I have 3x squared minus 21x plus x minus 7. So I'm going to group things that have a common factor. Sometimes you might have to try it a couple different ways, some trial and error, but I'm going to try -7 and -21x. And I'm going to try 3x squared and x. Here I'm going to pull out -7. Now I'm going to just pull out 7. So I have 7, and inside I have -7 minus 3x. And here I have x. So inside I have x I have 3x, plus 1. So we don't have the same thing inside of here. So let me try a different way. Let me try a different combination. Let's pair these up differently. Okay, so let's try grouping as is. So let's try 3x squared minus 21x, and let's try x minus 7. So if I pull out 3x here, I have x minus 7. If I pull out 1 here, I have x minus 7. There you go. So now I'm going to pair these up, 3x plus 1, and then take 1 of what's in the parentheses, and that's my answer. So see, sometimes it takes a couple tries to figure out what to group together. All right, example 3. So I'm going to take factors of 8 times -1. So factors of -8. Let's just start making a list here. -4, 2, 4, -2, 1, -8, -1, +8. So I am going to take -4, 2, because when you add them together, they equal -2. I'm going to take those two factors in the variable, and I'm going to split that term up. So I have 8x squared minus 2x minus 4x minus 1. So let's see what I'm going to group together. I think I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to take this 8x squared minus 2x, and then I'm going to take -4x minus 1. Let's see what we come up with. I'm going to pull out 2x. So inside, I'm left with 4x. This should be positive, sorry. Plus 1. And in here, I'm going to pull out -1. And inside, I'm left with positive 4x plus 1. So these are the same, so we grouped right. So I'm going to group together 2x and -1, that's one group, and 4x plus 1. You can always check your answer by multiplying these and see if they come out to be where you started. Couple more. All right, let's take 2 times 10, factors of 20. So I have 1 and 20, 4 and 5, 2 and 10. So we're going to go with this 4 and 5. So I'm going to take 2x squared, split up my 9x into 4x and 5x. Now let's see if we can find a group that works here. Oh, I'm just going to leave as it is. So I'm going to take 2x squared plus 4x and 5x plus 10. I'm going to pull out 2x, and I have x plus 2 inside. I'm going to pull out 5, just 5 because there's no x between them, and I have x plus 2 inside. So I did it right. So I have 2x plus 5 as one of the groups, and x plus 2 as the other. All right. So this one, let's see what we have. We have 5 times -1. So I need factors of -5. Not many choices here. We have not -1 and 5 and -5 and +1. So we want to get to -4, so we're going to pick that one. Now, we have to use both the variables here because we have an x and a y. So this one's kind of tricky. So I have 5x squared, and I'm going to split up that -4y, 4xy to be -5xy and just 1 or positive xy. Sorry, this is a positive sign. All right, I'm erasing that noise there. So this is positive xy minus y squared. So what should I group together? I'm going to take those 5's together. And then I'm going to group these together. I don't know, those 5's just jumped out at me. We'll see. So I'm going to pull out of here 5x. That's my greatest common factor. And inside I have left x minus y. So here I'm going to pull out a positive y. So I have x minus y left. So these are the same. So I have 5x plus y as one of the groups, and x minus y as the other group. Okay, one more. All right, 2x squared minus 16x plus 30. Let's check to see if we have a greatest common factor. They're all even, so we can pull out 2 for sure. So if we pull out 2, I'm left with x squared minus 8x plus 15. So we're back to our leading coefficient of 1 and the old way of doing things. Factors of 15 that equal -8. So let's see. So we have a couple choices. That's positive 15. So we have -15, -1, -5, -3, 5, 3, 15, 1. And it's right here because if you add -5 and -3 together, you get the center term, -8. We're not splitting anymore. We're just doing that, taking each one. So that's it. Make sure, before I leave you, to always check for a greatest common factor. Thanks.